Thank you, Mr. Chairman Obernolte, and thank you for having this meeting, and thank you, Secretary Granholm, for being here. And I'm going to get into a topic which I know that's not going to be popular, but I think it's really important. And so, Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to insert 4 articles into the record detailing Secretary Granholm's various ethics issues and 2 articles from the Department of Energy's website concerning its ethical policies. First, I just want to—
Without exception.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an article from Reuters. U.S. Energy Secretary Granholm violated ethics laws, watchdog says. An article from CNN. Biden touts electric car company potentially worth millions for his energy secretary. From Washington Free Beacon. Energy Secretary's husband held stock in Ford as administration approved billions in electric vehicle subsidies. Next article from Fox News. Biden Energy Secretary Granholm admits false testimony about owning stocks. The next I want to just point out and put these for the record, Mr. Chair, just so people have them. These are ethics, 14 principles of ethical conduct for federal employees. That's right on the Energy website. Ethics, impartiality in performing official duties. Want to be sure that—
objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So since taking office, I know my colleague, Mr. Iser, referred to some of these issues, but since taking office in January of 2021, Secretary Granholm has violated the Hatch Act multiple times. She's owned Proterra stock while her boss, President Biden, repeatedly promoted the company. We saw this huge payout. She admitted 3 months after she took office. Her husband owned Ford stock while she personally promoted the company's work with official resources, and she cashed in on millions of dollars after these illegal transactions and failure to disclose obvious conflicts were revealed. As you said, it took you 3 months before you actually sold the stock. And most critically, she lied under oath to Congress, claiming she did not own any individual stocks when in fact she did. Anyone disputing these charges could consult to these articles that I put in the record. They're available for everyone. And I just want to go to, Madam Secretary, the DOE's ethical rules or generally federal employee ethics laws provide that, quote, public service is a public trust. Employees must place loyalty to the Constitution, the laws, and ethical principles above gain, as I cited in the ethical principles that are part of your own department. Do you believe that any Department of Energy or other federal employee violating this rule should resign or be removed from office for this position?
First of all, let me say that we take ethics—
That's a yes or no question. Do you think if someone violates the ethical laws set forth in this, that you said you signed a statement, an ethical statement that you would comply with the laws, do you think that a DOE employee or other federal employee who violates these laws should step down from that position? That's a yes or no? If they violate the ethics laws set forth—
I understand what you're trying to do here.
I'm asking you a specific question. Okay, so you're not going to answer the question.
You have made a number of allegations that I feel against me personally.
This is my time, Mr.
I know,
Chairman.
but you've made these out there, and I feel it is important to respond.
Let me just tell you, this is what you did not answer the yes or no question. You obviously believe that it's okay to violate the ethics rules.
Of course I do not believe it's okay to violate ethics laws, nor does anyone else in the Department of Energy.
This is my time. So what you're trying to say is afterwards, once I realized and I spoke to Congress that I was not telling the truth about what was happening, I went back and admitted, oh, I made a mistake. So admitting the truth after being caught lying doesn't actually cure perjury. I don't know if you know that legally. I know you're an attorney. So you've admitted to testifying falsely and then came back and said, I corrected it later, but that doesn't cure the fact that you actually committed perjury. We've actually impeached presidents over committing perjury. And this is actually involved in your official duties. Also, after signing an ethics oath that you said that you signed and admitted to today, and on top of admitting that it was 3 months after you took office that you actually sold the stock on the private market, as Congressman Issa put out. So to me, that's perjury, and that's simple. That's perjury, period. Why should you not resign, or why should we not consider some kind of impeachment inquiry into you for your perjury charges? We've done that with presidents of the United States in the past.
Number one, I made a mistake when I testified saying that I had sold all stock. I honestly thought we had.
So wait a
but I
minute,
was wrong.
so I'll reclaim my time. You're a lawyer. You know that perjury, you cannot go
don't
back
take-
and say I made a mistake. Perjury exists when you give a false statement
Intentionally.
under oath, which you did.
Oh,
Did you not?
No, I did not intentionally. I thought we had divested of all stocks. We had
Look,
divested of all.
this is the colossal
conflicting
ego
thoughts.
of this administration that people and the American people are frustrated with. You serve the American people. You don't serve President Biden. You don't serve a special interest. You serve the American people.
Of course.
We would appreciate you coming forward on this.
I am coming forward if you would let me explain.
Look,
I made a
appointees with
mistake.
lesser conflicts, honestly, would have withdrawn their nomination or they would resign from office. Thank you. I yield back my.
There's no conflict. The OIG has investigated the Proterra issue and then determined that there was no
Gentlewoman
conflict.
yields back. We'll go next to the gentlewoman from Oregon, Ms. Salinas. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the chair and ranking member for holding this hearing today. And like my colleague from Illinois, I too am not here for the politics, but I do believe we need to set the record straight. This is the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, and facts are really important. So Secretary Granholm, thank you so much for being here today. I think we've taken up way too much time, but, and I do have some important questions to ask around gas prices. You've been asked repeatedly about your connection to Proterra with a lot of conjecture and speculation thrown in for good measure. But let's, again, understand the facts before we go any further. Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter sent by the Inspector General of the Department of Energy from actually the Trump administration on August 11th, 2021, Ms. Terry Donaldson, to Senator John Barrasso on August 11th. In the letter, the Inspector General Donaldson responds to a request from the senator to scrutinize, and in quote, Secretary Granholm's financial interest in Proterra. The Inspector General's findings were definitive, and I quote, Secretary Granholm publicly disclosed her interests in and position with Proterra. She complied with the terms of an ethics agreement designed to prevent violations of ethical restrictions while serving as secretary. Our inquiries did not identify evidence that Secretary Granholm violated existing statutes or regulations with respect to her financial interest in Proterra. We found no evidence indicating Secretary Granholm worked on specific issues related to Proterra at the same time she owned options for or shares of Proterra. Those findings, and that end quote, those findings remain true today. In fact, the department confirmed to committee staff that DOE has not directed any funding to Proterra during Secretary Granholm's tenure. These are the facts. And so, Secretary Granholm, I will only ask you one question on this issue before we move to more important matters. Can you assure us once again that you have complied with all legal and ethical obligations in regards to Proterra as the DOE Inspector General determined in 2021?
I can assure you.
Thank you. And now to a question that is important to my district. Diesel and jet fuel prices have climbed even faster than other fuels. And these heavy fuels are more easily refined from Russian and Middle Eastern crude than U.S. shale, making them even more susceptible to international pressures. Since July, gas, as you know, is up 9 cents at the pump, but diesel prices have risen 48 cents in that same amount of time. In Oregon, we have companies such as Next Clean Fuels, which are planning large new biofuel facilities to produce renewable diesel and jet fuels. However, these facilities take time to build, and my constituents are facing high costs right now. Can you provide an update on DOE support for biofuel infrastructure and the steps that we can take to bring these fuels to market more rapidly and further reduce our dependence on foreign oil?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question as well, because obviously the infrastructure is important and the fuel itself is important. So we have a whole strategy on biofuels, especially as it relates to making sure that people are aware of, for example, sustainable aviation fuels and the tax credits associated with those, making sure that we have got infrastructure that is not contributing to the cost, and that infrastructure, whether it's refinery infrastructure or the uses of diesel itself inside of vehicles. We want to make sure we have engines and biofuel, a biofuel pipeline for that is lower cost. we've been working on both the transportation side as well as the infrastructure side for a long time, and we will continue to do so, but it has been propelled significantly by the incentives associated with the Inflation Reduction Act, and we're very grateful for that.
And so, dovetailing off of that, the USDA has also traditionally provided significant support for biofuel research and development. And as you roll out some of these programs from IIJA and IRA, how are you coordinating with agencies like the U.S. Department of Agriculture to maximize the impact of these investments?
Yeah, we definitely work with the Department of Agriculture on this, especially, I mean, they've got a series of funds that they have been supportive of biofuel development, whether it's refineries, making sure that we have the supply associated with the feedstock, and so we have worked together with the Department of Agriculture very closely. We've also got, as far as our own strategy, I just want to turn here. We have an earth shot that is associated with this called Clean Fuels and Products, where we want to make sure that we are taking feedstocks that are not, that are all kinds of feedstocks to be able to reduce greenhouse gases. We've got a whole series of pieces of infrastructure, like at the Idaho National Lab, to be able to do that. It's called BUFNUF, the biofuel, it's a biofuel, National Biofuel, I can't remember the acronym, but bottom line is it's a facility that is an applied strategy on how you can have distributed biofuel creation from various sources of feedstock. And we've got biofuel resource centers, 4 of them across the country, to be able to continue the research on biofuels. So there's a strategy from the Sustainable Aviation Fuel Grand Challenge to the Inflation Reduction Act to the Earth Shots of Clean Fuels to the biofuel centers and to the labs, all as part of a continuum to be able to lower the cost and create more supply of biofuels.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared, just level up, don't be scared. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared, just level up.